probably one of the only things of yours I hadn't been taking.
It's a relatively new product. We started talking about this a few years ago. It's a product that I've known about for a long period of time. And like all of my products, we put it through a careful review of the science before we create the product. Even if there's a demand for the product, I first want to make sure that the product is not just, the science isn't just interesting, but the science is compelling. And when it comes to vitamin K2 MK7, it's hard to imagine an ingredient that could be more important to all of us. And I say that not just in terms of bone health, I say it in terms of cardiovascular health. And whenever I say that, people ask me, cardiovascular health, how does that have anything to do with bone health? And how does that have anything to do with calcium metabolism? Well, calcium is not just present in our bones. Calcium is found throughout our body. Calcium plays a critical role throughout our body, but calcium, the sort of the reservoir in our body for calcium is our bones, and of course it also plays a structural role there in our bones. But calcium can also find itself in other tissues that we'd rather not have it there. We don't want things to calcify. We'd rather not have calcium deposited in our arteries. If it does so, our arteries become less resilient, less flexible. And one of the most beneficial attributes, one of the most youthful attributes of healthy arteries is their resiliency and flexibility. So we really want to resist calcification of those arteries. And a recent study that was just published on vitamin K2 MK7 spoke specifically about that. And over a short period of time, just a matter of months, a significant increase in arterial flexibility was noted. So not only is the science exciting in terms of the health of our bones and ensuring that it supports the role of calcium in our bones and the building of healthy bone, but it also supports the retention of calcium in the tissues where it belongs and not in the tissues where it doesn't belong. And that's why I kind of, the analogy I use, I talk about vitamin K2 MK7 as sort of being the calcium traffic cop, that it determines where it's supposed to be going, who's supposed to be going there, and who's not allowed to come here. And that's the role it plays, oversimplifying it, but makes it much easier to understand.
So interesting. I'm going to show you what the choices are. Again, everything's birthday priced, everything's with free shipping and handling, so you can always do a try me, that's a 30 count, but then we go all the way up to a 360 if you take one a day. That's going to last you about a year. So here are the choices. Here's the regular everyday HSN pricing for the birthday month. You have $89, $40 off, $20, $10, or $6 off, depending on the size you'd like us to send you if you're not taking it yet. This is an exciting product. It's a remarkable product that has so many cool health benefits. I always love learning about something new. This is something that up until recently, we hadn't talked about a lot on the air, and I think more and more of us, our ears perk up when you realize the huge health benefits by adding this into your vitamin regimen.
I encourage everyone to do research on vitamin K2 MK7. It is technically, it shares the same name as vitamin K1. And vitamin K1, the origins of vitamin K1 is all about blood clotting. And in fact, the original name of vitamin K comes from the fact that in German, where it was first identified, the word for coagulation it's spelled with a K. So that's vitamin K1. That's phytonadione. But vitamin K2 MK7 is a different chemical structure. This is vitamin K1, this is vitamin K2 MK7, and as you can see, the 7 comes from the 7 groups that are attached to the same structure on both molecules here. These two ring structures are identical on both molecules, and the difference is that long chain. And with that vitamin K2 MK7, it plays no role in blood clotting. That's not what it does. And a lot of people are concerned about that. But vitamin K2 MK7, the role it plays is in terms of the way our body manages, utilizes calcium. Whether we have to consume some calcium in our diet. We need calcium in our body. It's an essential mineral. It's absolutely has to be part of the structure of our bone. It's also in all of our cells because we have principally 4 electrolytes in our body that are responsible for much of the osmotic pressure we experience in our body, whether it's sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium. They all have to be there. And unfortunately, because of the ubiquitousness, the constant presence of calcium in our body, there's a risk of calcium being deposited in areas we don't want it. Vitamin K2 MK7 resists that, and that's the remarkable role it plays in both the health of our bones and the health of our cardiovascular system and retaining and supporting flexible arteries.
See there? I mean, how cool that one capsule, and they're really pretty. They're really interesting. They're beautiful little golden capsules. And again, for your cardiovascular health as well as for your bone health. Look at how pretty they are. I mean, if you get the 360, that's about a year's supply if you take one a day. Little tiny investment.
That's all you need to take is one a day.
That's it, one a day.
Yes.
And it works hand in hand with everything else you're using. I doubt this is something that we're getting an abundance of in our diet.
We don't, unless you're eating Japanese natto, unless you're eating, fermented products from Japan, you're not getting vitamin K2 in the typical diet at all. Not a little, at all.
Oh, there you go. Okay, what'd you tell me, Steve? Also, he wants us to mention.
I just want to mention it. In the next hour, we'll talk about the monthly special at greater